delirious. I saw that hell-bound ship's black sails against the yellow Indy sky and knew again the stench of powder and men's brains and war. The waves about me were scarlet, foaming, horribly warm. Yet still the freighter's hideous crew called out, "More blood, more blood." Its tar-streaked hull rolled over me. In despair, I sank beneath those foul pink billows, offering up my wretched soul to Almighty God, His mercy and His judgment.
We ought to nuke Russia and let God sort it out.
Of course, that's just my opinion. For what that's worth, you know, in a final analysis. Waking from nightmare, I found myself upon a dismal beachhead amongst dead men and the pieces of dead men. Listen, I see every goddamn front page in the world. Bosun Ridley lay nearby. Birds were eating his thoughts and memories. For instance, the more disasters happen, the more papers I sell. Reader, take comfort from this. In hell, at least the gulls are contented. See, everything's connected. A news vendor understands that. He don't retreat from reality. I stood in the surf and wept, unable to bear my circumstances. He's a survivor. Eventually, tears ceased. My misfortunes were small. I was alive. News vendors always cope. They're indestructible. They thrive on disaster. And I knew that life had no worse news to offer me. Is it here yet? Oh, your copy of the New Frontiersman. Sure, it's here. I keep it for you every day, don't I? How's the end of the world coming along? Today, for certain. The figurehead lay at my feet, blindfolded by seaweed. I made to take the ribbon of kelp from off her painted eyes, then thought better of it, not wishing her to suffer the terrible distractions of that grim tide line. She had borne me through seas of blood. Her damp embrace had prevented me from drifting beyond reach. Yet this small comfort was all I could offer. I could not love her as she had loved me. John? When do you have to do that TV interview this evening? Is it soon? No, we have plenty of time. Good. Oh, God! That's horrible! Stop it! John, be one person again. Lori, don't be upset. I thought you'd enjoy it. I do try to please you. I know. I'm sorry. I overreacted. Look, I gotta go find a cigarette. I'm sorry. I don't know what stimulates you anymore. John, please. It's okay. Just forget it. I'm fine, really. It doesn't matter. John, how the hell long have you been working out here? Lori, try to understand. Were you working in here at the same time as we were in bed? Lori, my work's at an important stage. It seemed unnecessary to... Shut up! I hate you. I'm leaving. I'm getting dressed, and I'm leaving. Lori, can't we talk? If you think there's a problem with my attitude, I'm prepared to discuss it. Lori. He couldn't relate to me, not emotionally, certainly not sexually. Within 3 years, he dumped me for some 16-year-old who ran around in her underwear. One day, he'll find out. He'll find out what it feels like. I see. So, Miss Slater, how do you feel now that you've learned about your condition? Bitter. Bitter as hell. I started smoking. I figured, why not? Nobody's gonna miss me after I'm gone. I know that. Especially not him. You see, he doesn't care. He doesn't have to get old. That's... Excuse me. That's why I'm talking to you people. I want the world to know about him. What he did to me. I kept quiet all these years, but then this latest thing happened, and I had to let it all out. Excuse me. After all he meant to me, after all the times he said he loved me. It's okay, Miss Slater. If you want, we could stop here. Miss Slater, I'd like to thank you for helping Nova Express so much with these investigations. I'm sure after the paper finally goes out, tonight you'll feel so much better. No, I won't. Not after what he did to me. Some things, once they're busted, they can't ever be fixed. But I'm glad that after that show tonight, everybody's gonna know what he did. Oh, God. It's such a relief. It's such a relief just to talk to somebody. Lori? Well, come on in. It's good to see you. Sorry about all this mess. I'm having a new lock fitted. It's okay, friend. Almost through here. I'll make coffee. It's funny. I was hoping I'd run into you so I could thank you for that dinner last week. I thought maybe you'd be at the funeral, but John said you'd had to visit your mother. You take sugar with your coffee? Yes. Yes, 2 sugars. So, anyway, how is your mom? Hollis Mason was asking after her just the other week. Oh, she's great. Just great. Oh, God. Oh, God, I'm so sorry. Hey, look, it's okay. I mean, whatever's bothering you, it's not the end of the world, right? I left John. Oh, I see. That is... I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm dumping it on you. I just don't know anybody else. I don't know anybody except goddamn superheroes. Dan, living with him, you don't know what it's like. The way he looks at things, like he can't remember what they are and doesn't particularly care. This world, the real world, to him, it's like walking through mist, and all the people are like shadows. Just shadows in the fog. I mean, tonight, right? I walked out after 20 years, and you know what I bet he's doing? His big emotional reaction? He's either smartening up for his TV interview or watching quarks get stuck to gluinos. Maybe both. So, where will you go? Do you have any place to stay tonight? Yeah, well, I guess I'll splash out on some overnight accommodation and think things through. Just a hotel or someplace. Somewhere normal. Dan, I'm sorry. I've turned up in hysterics when you were probably about to dress for going out. Tonight, I'm only calling on Hollis, and he doesn't care how people dress. Now, you drink this while it's hot. Here's looking at you, kid. You know, sometimes I look at myself and I don't understand. Sometimes I look at myself and think, how did everything get so tangled up? Come on. I'm holding you up from visiting Hollis. Grab your coat and I'll walk over there with you. Don't you want your coffee? Nah, I'm sorry. It's too bitter. Well, if you're sure you wouldn't rather sit and talk, Hollis would understand if I was late. Dan, listen, it's almost 6:15 already, and you know New York on a Saturday night. Sometimes the cabs just disappear, and getting from A to B takes forever. Well, I'm all through here. You're safe as houses. What happened anyway? You get robbed? No. A friend. He called when I wasn't expecting him. Ha! I got buddies like that, always turning up drunk, completely out of the blue. I heard what you said about cabs. Why don't you call my brother's company, the Promethean? It beats walking. These are bad neighborhoods. That's okay. I'm in a bad mood. Oh, so Dr. Osterman finally arrives and nobody thinks to tell me. Marvelous. He just appeared. I feel sick. They're not paying me enough for this. They're not paying me enough to handle monsters from outer space. You haven't left us time for makeup. That blue is far too light for television. Dr. Osterman, I'm Forbes, Army Intelligence. Here's a list of no-go areas. Obviously, Afghanistan will arise, but play it cool. And try not to get into any tight corners. Is this dark enough? My God. Well, yes. That's just perfect. That's certainly dark enough for my purposes. If the Geneva talks come up, the official position is that they can't resume until the Soviets agree to exclude you from the agenda. Shh! We're on. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're ready to start, and believe me, we have something really special for you tonight. In his first ever live question and answer session, let's have a big hand, please, for Doc Manhattan himself, Dr. Jonathan Osterman. What's up, Doc? Up is a relative concept. It has no intrinsic value. Right, okay. So let's get on to the questions. You, over there. Doc, if the Reds act up in Afghanistan, will you be prepared to enter hostilities? As far as I know, there is no situation in Afghanistan currently requiring my attentions. Okay, fine. Now, how about you over there? Yes, you, sir. And please, let's try and keep it snappy. Dr. Osterman, I'm Doug Roth. I wonder if you remember Wally Weaver. Back in the early 60s, the newspapers called him Dr. Manhattan's buddy. He died of cancer in 1971. I believe it was quite sudden and quite painful. I remember Wally as a good friend. I attended his funeral. Really? How about Edgar W. Jacoby, also known as Moloch? You encountered him several times during the 60s in battles, conflicts, whatever it is you super people do. Did you know that Jacoby also has terminal cancer? Moloch? No. No, I didn't know that. I'd rather not. What's the matter, Doctor? Am I starting to make you feel uncomfortable? Then how about this one? Did you know that Miss Janie Slater, linked romantically with you in the 60s, is currently suffering from lung cancer? Doctors have given her 6 months to live. Notice any connection? Janie? What? I wasn't told. Are you suggesting... Okay, that's it. No more questions. The show's over. Also, we have reports of more than 24 other past associates similarly afflicted. Come on, let's get out. The mob's getting aroused. Do you think you gave Miss Slater cancer by sleeping with her? No, please, if you'll let me through. Let him through. He's not here to answer questions on intimate moments. How does it feel to know that you may have doomed hundreds of people? Please. If everybody would just go away and leave me alone. Gentlemen, I think it's safest not to pursue this line of thinking. Dr. Manhattan, how often do you say, leave me alone? Jesus, us getting mugged. Look, I'm shaking. Once the adrenaline wears off, I always feel sort of weird. Sort of empty. Why not visit Hollis and get your breath back? I've had enough superhero stuff for one day. I'm gonna find a hotel and think my relationship over. See if I can come up with one good reason to stick around. Anyway, you take care of yourself, Dan. It's a tough world out there. Yeah, you too, Lori. Bye. Danny, how are you? You're late. I thought you'd had an accident. No, I just had a little skirmish. You're not the only one. I just been watching Doc Manhattan on TV. He teleported everybody out of the TV building, cameras and all. But I was just with Lori. She doesn't know. Well, she'll know soon enough. That show went out on prime time. The whole world will know soon enough. I knew it. Will you look at that? The freighter's murderous onslaught had surprised us. We'd been blasted to fragments before we could warn David's town of the hell ship's approach. Cancer. I might have known. I thought of my family, vulnerable, unsuspecting, never dreaming that damnation bore down upon them. Crazed with helplessness, I cursed God and wept, wondering if he wept also. Hey, it's raining. Lend me your cap, man. No chance. But then, what use his tears if his help was denied me? In this world, you shouldn't rely on help from anybody. In the end, a man stands alone. In the terrible silence, I understood the true breadth of the word isolation. What are you doing? I was painting up this warning notice as ordered. It seems I'm incapable of cohabiting safely, either emotionally or physically. Perhaps you'd best tell Miss Uspecic and your superiors that I'm leaving. Leaving? Yes. For Arizona first, I think. And then Mars. Holy Christ! Sergeant! That night I slept badly beneath cold, distant stars, pondering upon the cold, distant God in whose hands the fate of Davidstown rested. Was he really there? Had he been there once, but now departed? The morning sun found me no more wise, no less troubled. Further down the shore, several of the beached corpses had become inflated by gas. You seen this? He's gone. New frontiersman says it's the Russians. I set about burying the sodden carcasses, matching odd limbs as best I could. With them, I buried all hope for my family's survival. I mean, what's next, you know? Give me a gazette as well. I see the world didn't end yesterday. Are you sure? I had never seen so many dead people. By dusk, the crater was deep enough, and I commenced hauling those cold, maimed, wretched things into the bed I had prepared. Dragging and cursing, I hoped my wife and daughters might be tucked in by gentler hands when their turn came. I began to weep again. Dear God, who would protect them? Hey, are you back again? Listen, when are you thinking of paying for that funny book? The freighter was almost upon them. Gone? What do you mean he's gone? Haven't you read the papers? Dr. Manhattan left Earth. Now please, we have to give you a cancer scan and ask some questions. Cancer scan? What is this? Who are all these people? Leave that alone. That's my mother's. Miss Uspecic, we have to ask. Did you place Dr. Osterman under any emotional stress last night? What? Are you blaming me for something? Who do you think you are? Listen, when John gets back, you're in big trouble. Listen, lady. If our psychologists are right, John is quite possibly never coming back. Your meal ticket has flown the coop. The linchpin of America's strategic superiority has apparently gone to Mars. But you're right. I am in big trouble, and you're in big trouble. And we're all in big trouble. Woman. Good morning, Daniel. Brought you your Sunday paper. The comedian murdered, Dr. Manhattan exiled. 2 of us gone, all within a week. Who next? Right. Uspechik, me, you. By the way, you need a stronger lock. The new one broke after one shove. My new lock? Poor choice. Get more expensive one. Can't be too security conscious. These days, nobody's safe. Be seeing you. Thanks for the coffee and cereal. You know, superheroes are finished. These days, it's all pirates. Exhausted, I slept atop the grave, dreams ringing with the horribly familiar screams of children. I saw the black freighter bearing down on all I loved, but I was powerless to stop it. Continued next month. Hey, man, rip-off story ain't got no ending. Thanks, Chuck. Just left hanging with that ship coming in, gonna kill everybody. Shit. I'm going home. Oh, Jesus. Giant pirates. You can keep it. What? No, you can have it. And you can have my cap, too. Listen, you get home to your mom, okay? You be good to her. I mean, we all gotta look out for each other, don't we? I mean, that's my philosophy. Hey, thanks for the stuff. You take care, man. Yeah, you too. I mean, life's too short. In a final analysis. Mr. President, the latest analysis is through. If the Soviets continue into Pakistan, it's 60% certain they'll try taking Western Europe also. If he wanted to live on a red planet, he should have stayed home. Well, General, what do you think? We can be ready for a first strike within 7 days. I'd advise against leaving it longer. We have a 54% chance of wiping them out before half their birds are airborne. I'm talking total devastation. And would our losses be acceptable? Any moment now, we'll be able to give you an overview. Ah, there we are. Britain down, Germany down. Well, I've seen worse scenarios. Is that some heading for our east coast there? At this point in our contingency plans, where should we be? Somewhere else, Henry. Uh-oh, there goes Boston, and New York, Baltimore, Washington. Wow, that's pretty breathtaking, I'll say. Do you have a projection of the fallout drift from that? Coming up now. I'd always kind of hoped that the big decision would rest with somebody else. This is going to take some thinking about. It's like old naval battles. So much depends upon a quirk of the wind. The wind's a force of nature. It's totally impartial, totally indifferent. I think we'll give it a week, gentlemen, before bringing out our big guns. After that, humanity is in the hands of a higher authority than mine. Let's just hope he's on our side.